Hi there, everyone. I've been trying to get to making some videos, but I've been working some very long hours, and with the holidays going on, it's been very difficult to do that. But I've had some recent inquiries about how I make digital negatives, so I decided to kind of make a short video showing how I do that. It's not complicated. I just kind of eyeball it. I don't use I don't use any presets or anything. But I use, just so everyone knows, and I'll put links to everything, but I use screen printing transparency for the negative. I use a Canon Pixma IX6820 printer. And my photo editing program I use is just Gimp. So I don't have anything especially fancy or complex. I just use the simplest and least expensive things I can find. So I'm going to show you what I did to make the digital negative, and I just picked a random photo here to do that to. I don't have Photoshop, so I can't really make a tutorial on that, so I don't have that. But anyway, the first step I do is go into grayscale mode on Gimp. So you click image mode and grayscale. For me, I like a little more contrast, and that's entirely up to you. That's just my personal preference. I like a little more contrast in my photos because I kind of like that older look to them, so I bring the contrast up on my pictures. Now, all you really have to do is hit colors and invert, and there's a negative. But based off of what you're doing, if you're doing a cyanotype, you may leave it this way. But if you're doing carbon printing, you want the negative denser or darker. So lighter for cyanotype, darker for carbon printing and some other processes. And all you really need to do is go to exposure, and you can, or I'm sorry, you go to the brightness and contrast. So right now this would work perfectly for a cyanotype, no issue at all. But if you wanted this to be for carbon printing, you'd probably want it a little bit denser. The transparency I get that I'll put a link to, it kind of has a slight haze to the film where some are perfectly clear, but that light haze seems to help with when you want it a little more dense. I'm assuming because it blocks some of the light. Doesn't seem to affect the image quality or any of that, but also, any inkjet printer will work. So, as long as it's inkjet and as long as it has pigment-based ink. The Pixma has 4 cartridges, or I'm sorry, 5. There's 4 for basically color printing and 1 black cartridge that's pigment only. So, as long as you have a pigment-based inkjet printer and inkjet transparency film. That's important because it's almost got like a tacky surface on one side, and you have to make sure that side's facing the print head. But as long as you're using those 2 things, that's all you need to make digital negatives. I tried to do the ones on laser printers. They do not ever seem to work right at all, so I'm not even going to try. I even tried like paper negatives, but no matter what I do to the printer, I always get these kind of little lines that just don't look right, so I just don't worry about it. It's a little bit cheaper to do a inkjet printer anyway. But anyway, so like I said, this would work fine for, say, a cyanotype. But if you're wanting to do something more dense for a carbon print or whatever, then you just adjust the brightness accordingly. So it's not going to affect the image quality. It's just based off of whatever type of method you're using. So this would work fine. maybe even a little darker for carbon printing. So if you were needing it darker, you just click OK and then hit colors and brightness contrast again, and you can actually lower it some more if you need to. But that's what you need to do for the density of the negative. After that, once you're done, to save that file on Gimp, you hit File and Export As, and then you can just put it wherever. I'm just putting it on the desktop here, and then I always make sure that it's 100% image quality. I get that's the JPEG compression. You don't have to save it as JPEG, but yes, that's it. It's basically grayscale, invert, and then the lightness or darkness is how you pick your density for whatever particular process, and I just eyeball it. So you might make a couple different negatives. It's not, I don't do it in a precision method. I know you can, I just don't. I've read some other things. So there's some more complicated ways you could double print for density and all that, and I'm sure you could research that. But as far as what I do, that's all there is to it. And then on this particular Canon Pixma printer, you select on transparency film, you just select that it's glossy photo paper. You set the quality as high as it'll go in grayscale only mode. Grayscale is what you have to pick to get the pigment cartridge to work in the printer. It uses a little cyan too, but that has no effect on the actual negative. But that's it. Then you just print it. And the Pixma, the reason I picked that is because you can go up to a 13" by 19". So whether it's a photo or digital negative, you can go up to 13 by 19. But that's all there is to it. I'm trying, once we get through the holidays and all that, the holidays make work even busier than it normally is. I'm going to try to get back on here and do some more videos. I have a bunch of experiments I started but never got to finish. So I will hopefully see you all here in a month or so and get some other experiments on their way. Take care.